What's going on, guys? Welcome to another update. Today we are out in the garage room. We haven't had an update in the garage room in a while, so I figured let's do an update in the garage room. So let's start off with the saltwater rack. As you can see, one light's out, both of these lights are gone. We're slowly taking away or taking down the tank. The sump's still operational. Like, the whole thing's still running. It's just I'm decommissioning the tank as I get some time. We're only going to keep one tank there, and we're eventually going to move that tank over here. And we'll just kind of grow some plants just for fun, or maybe thinking of just doing a saltwater quarantine because I'm going to need one for the other tank anyways. So that's probably the plan, where I'm going to basically take down all of this, sell the 33 because don't need the 33, move, like I said, one of this over here. These two will be taken down because it fits like perfectly in between these two tanks here. We'll do one for quarantine for saltwater for a little bit. See what's going on there. The NEMs are not looking too hot. They've been bleached because out here is just crazy hot right now. Well, yeah, so that's kind of what the purpose of this rack was. Just, house the livestock that we had so far and move it into the larger tank inside. And for the most part, everything is moved. All we have left in there is some snails, crab, and a maroon clownfish. And then moving over to the rack over here, this is all the freshwater stuff. The shrimps, looks like they're doing pretty good. It looks like we had some die off on some of the shrimp just because the temperature is really hot, so it accelerates their lifespan dramatically, so they kind of have like a growth spurt, and then if they don't reproduce fast enough, whatever, they die off. So I kind of noticed the population kind of dwindling, or just kind of on the stagnant side of things, especially my cherry, my yellows. My yellows I had a ton, unless they're like all in here, because like I saw a lot of them in here in the guppy grass as well. The Plecos in here that bred once in the beginning of like early last year or beginning of this year. Haven't seen any breeding action. The rabbit snails in here are actually doing pretty decent. They're growing. So let's see what's going on over here. So eventually, like I said, this tank's gonna be going down. We had some die off when I was on vacation. Like those plants just completely melted. The crypt is still doing fine, but again, this tank is probably going to be taken down. We're going to merge these guys back into here just because there's the same shrimp. And then these guys here are the project. I'm trying to get some purple shrimps here, breeding across between the reds and blues. We'll move them into the larger tank inside. That's cycling still. And then we'll kind of continue that project inside just to kind of see if we can get any purple ones. That would be kind of interesting. Cherries. The cherries are the coals from this tank here, so we'll keep them as is. Oh, and then one thing that I did this week for all of the tanks was remove the duckweed. Like I went through here and it took some time and just scooped like as much duckweed as I could in one day. The next day I went back and scooped as much as I can afterwards. Slowly that progress, doing that over and over again, we remove basically all the duckweeds. I'm going to do another sanity check this week just to make sure there's no duckweeds floating. For example, there's still like one here. So we're still going to kind of comb through some of the little tanks and remove everything, but like the larger tanks, like this one, that one there, all of it's removed. This one we have like one or two. This one we still have a couple here that's stuck up there, so it kind of trickles down there, so we'll kind of have to watch that. And then moving on to the Pleco breeding rack here. I would say, everything in the summertime, it's just sustaining and growing for them. But I did end up losing one peppermint, and I want to say, no, not the starlight. I think it was like one peppermint. That was when I was away for like 10 days. Basically, it was like extremely hot. Oh, and then we did lose one zebra as well. It was extremely hot. Temperatures in here like soar, and that's why I have these extra bubblers in here, along with the sump running. I mean, nothing like shut down or whatever. It was just extremely hot here. And then also, like, if you don't notice something in this tank, it can kind of like get out of control really fast, because there's a lot of fish in this system, right? So if I'm home, I'm always checking them kind of daily. I kind of notice things, spot things, I kind of like quickly treat them or remove them or something like that. But when you're away for like 2 weeks, and it's really hard to kind of figure out what's going on with a lot of these guys. You do your best to try to have a good environment and condition, and then hopefully they do good when you come back. But things happen. So, and unfortunately, we did lose 2 fish from the rack. No breeding action because it's just too hot. As it gets cooler, we'll probably see some breeding actions from these guys. The sump is looking fabulous. We got some plants growing here, and then we got a bunch of guppy grass growing. It looks a little thin because I had sowed a bunch of them, but still have a ton more. And then moving on to the other side. The other side also had a bunch of duckweed. Removed as much duckweed as I could. I can kind of see a couple here that I'm gonna have to remove. Same thing with this tank, same thing with this tank over here, and we had duckweed in here, but that got removed. But it was a long process in terms of removing it, but we got most of it out, and we just have a little bit more to go. This is the blue dream. They're looking fine, along with actually celestial pearl danios. When I came home, we noticed one guy dead, a body down here, celestial pearl danios, and I was like, oh, what the heck? They are cooler fish, so they like to, temperatures a little bit cooler. And I went in here and I looked and I was like, where are the rest of them? So apparently, I guess when I was gone, or I guess I don't really see them as often, just because, like, as you can see, there's like a forest of plants. I guess they were dying slowly, one by one, and I only saw like 2 when I kind of did like a kind of a mini clean and trying to remove the duckweed in here. So unfortunately, I only have like 2 left in here from the group that we had from quarantine and whatnot. So that's kind of sad. I'll have to rethink how I want to do this, just because this is the first time I've actually had celestial pearl danios out in the garage this year. So it might be just too hot for them, or that type of fish. So we'll have to rethink that, or maybe have a tank inside maybe dedicated for them. But right now I don't have a place for them, so maybe in the future we'll have to kind of figure out if I really want to keep them. We have to find a place inside for them. This tank is housing kind of grow out plecos. We got some tiger plecos in the back, baby ones, and then we have some shrimp in here. Really, I should combine the shrimp into one tank. I'll probably end up doing that and just have a purely grow out tank for any new fry. This is the quarantine tank here. It has the light so I can see, any diseases or whatnot. The rummy nose are doing fabulous. They are really like just agile, like super fast. They eat a lot too. The autos here, we had a couple of them die during quarantine, unfortunately, so not all of them are gonna make it. So we did lose a couple of the autos. We'll probably, if we end up losing more than what I originally bought, because I think we lost like 4 of them in here already, 4 or 5 during the quarantine process, and it's still in quarantine. We still have probably 2 more weeks of quarantine for this, and once that is all good and the tank is cycled inside, we'll slowly move them inside. But yeah, I would like to have a group of autos. My wife really likes the autos, so we'll have at least 10 inside. That'll be something we want to do. And over here is the coal tank for the Blue Dreams, along with 2 plecos. The Blue Dreams in here are actually consistent in terms of numbers. They're not really, that many Blue Dreams, but it's always about the same. Same thing down here. The Blue Dreams are doing pretty good as well. Plants, as you can see, look at the plants, pretty nice. Did some cleaning there, But yeah, so that's a quick rundown of the garage room. Eventually this will be torn down. You won't see this side anymore. You might see the rack. We might push it back. We might do little projects here and there with some sort of, I don't know. We'll keep a quarantine tank or something like that over there and just keep the rack or something like that. But all this is going to be eventually torn down. The sump, the 33, and then I'm debating if I want to keep both of them or not. We'll see, but at least these 2 are going to be gone. The filter and whatnot's going to be gone, so it's going to be a little bit of a downside just because I don't have to worry about this rack system in terms of water changes. We just have the one system inside. Yeah, this summer has been extremely hot, so I've been kind of a little bit lazy in terms of doing some of the moves. I can probably take down this whole thing in one day or one weekend, but it's just too hot. I just don't want to do it. I've just been lazy. And I'm really honestly waiting for the tank inside to cycle, because once that cycle, we can take these 2 out and we can move them across. So really, we're waiting on the tank to cycle, and I'm gonna give it probably 2 more weeks before it's fully cycled. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's update. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. And always, the next time, guys, peace.